I have turned the recording on, so it is recording now.
Mr. Farrell,
Yes, I'm here.
could I get my name added so that all the links come to me for the meeting?
You said we'd take care of that later. We'll do that later. Yeah, we'll do that later. Get this meeting over with. I'll take care of that tomorrow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mack, I don't know what you mean by the links coming to you. You should be able to hear everybody who's talking.
I can hear everybody talking, but in order to get to the meeting,
You're in the meeting.
I would have to call somebody and get the numbers.
They should be on the bottom of the agenda when it's posted.
Okay. Well, I didn't get uptown to get the agenda today.
Okay, they're online. And Luann will have to take care of that.
Okay, no, thank you.
Yeah. There's somebody who is on a Galaxy S10, so we have it for the record. Who are you?
George, it's Teddy.
Who? I didn't understand you.
It's Teddy.
Oh, that's you, Teddy. Okay.
I'm on my phone instead of the laptop today.
All right. I'm going to change the name to you so we know who you are. If I can get the right mouse. Okay. Mr. Mayor, we have about 21 people here.
Okay. Call to order the June 8th Lebanon City Council. We'll have roll call, please.
Farrell,
Here.
Gale,
Here.
Jenkins,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Mack,
He's appearing on screen.
Whitty,
Here.
Wright,
Here.
Zerlini, that's it. Is Mr. Mack there yet?
Mr. Mack is, he's there. He's muting.
I'm here.
Okay,
And Jessica just unmuted.
I'm here.
okay, all present.
All right, we first on the, we will entertain a motion to, in a second, to approve the minutes from the last council meeting.
This is Jenkins. I'd like to motion to approve the minutes from the last council meeting.
This is Charlie. I'll second it.
All right. Discussion. Any changes, additions, deletions? If none, we'll have roll call, please.
Farrell,
Yes.
Gale,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Whitty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zerlini.
Yes.
If, we'll now entertain a motion to approve the executive session minutes for May 22nd.
I will make that motion. This is George.
Second,
I'll second.
I'll second it.
It's May 26th, Rich, not 22nd.
Yes, May 26th. So it says on the minutes.
right. Okay, roll call. Any discussion? Okay, we'll have roll call, please.
Gale,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes,
Johnson,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Whitty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zerlini,
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
George, I just got a text from Dale. He's trying to get into the meeting, can't log into it.
Have to make sure he has the right login.
Okay, I'll tell him to go to the,
Go to the
Current
agenda.
one.
That's the
Yeah.
one that's working, the current agenda.
okay.
Okay, we'll start with committee reports. Street and Alley, Mr. Mack? Mr. Mack?
I
Yeah, Street and Alley, what's going on?
have nothing.
Okay, so you meet July 6th, 7 p.m. Be the next Street and Alley committee meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Finance. Jenkins.
yes, Mr. Mayor, we meet July the 20th at 7 p.m. We have nothing for the meeting for tonight.
July 20th?
Doesn't sound right.
No, it should be, this should be June.
That's a mistake in the agenda.
Okay, so that would, you're back, you're meeting next week, right?
Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, we should meet the 6th of July. That's correct. We got 5 months in June, and we don't meet on the 5th month.
Okay, so it'd be July 6th is finance, okay.
So that would mean streets and alley.
That's not right. It should be the 20th.
Right.
Streets and alleys should be the 20th.
No. Streets and alleys should be the 6th. We're the first week.
It should be, you're meeting on June the 15th.
Oh, June.
You're
Okay,
meeting June 15th. That's the third Monday.
June 15th. All right.
Lost a month.
Okay, then we'll move to ordinance.
Ordinance Committee, we meet July 6th at 7 o'clock p.m. And Rick, do you want us to do the ordinance now for the collector or wait till after the executive session?
Well, I can tell you that John and I have emailed back and forth a little bit over the weekend on a couple of the references that I added, just to get that clarified. So I want to make sure that that's finalized before I present a final version to you all. So I'm not ready to do that part yet, but we do need to go in executive session at the end of this to discuss the pay aspect that we said we were going to.
Okay, so we're not going to take action on this. There'll be no recommendation for an action. And we'll do an executive session. We'll be adding the figures to the ordinance for the salary.
Correct.
Okay. Other than that, I have nothing else for ordinance.
All right, then let's go to water and sewer, please.
I believe Penny was going to speak on this for us tonight. Is she available?
Penny is online. All she has to do is unmute herself or chat, and I'll read it. Penny, are you there? There we go.
Okay, Penny, could you give us some information on the summer intern for water sewer, please?
We're not hearing you if you're talking. Intern for 10 weeks under the group chat.
Okay. This is something that is done every year, to my recollection. Correct?
Part-time request minimum wage.
Can I ask, how do we get our interns? No, we are just paying them from city funds.
It's been in the past that the department heads do that. The only difference was we got an intern for the administration, but that was not a paid intern. That was a intern that we did through McKendree University so that they could get college credit. If the superintendents have budgeted for it, and then they have that in their budget, then they just need to verify that with Michelle, so she has something in writing and documented that shows they can hire that person.
And Penny said the request from a school as internship was canceled. She will come from ERTC. Shandell Wilson is the intern.
And what type of work will she be doing?
Same as us, same as the rest of the staff.
Okay. And my thought process there in asking those questions is WIOA, Workforce Investment Act, they run work paid experience, giving youth in school and out of school for work paid experience. So they always are looking for employers to be a participant in the program. So we actually do the hiring, and WIOA pays the wages for that youth in school or out of school. So just something to keep in mind for future reference if we're ever interested.
Okay, Penny says she is a student at water wastewater school.
Got it.
Okay, we will entertain a motion and a second for approval of a summer intern for the water sewer department.
I'll make that motion if Jessica can't.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Jenkins. Any more questions for Penny?
No, sir.
If not, then we will go to roll call, please.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Whitty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zerlini,
Yes.
That was a no.
Farrell,
Yes.
Hill.
Yes. And Penny, would you please provide Michelle just a short note authorizing her to pay that? That way she has it for her records.
And Penny further said in chat that she's at SIUE.
Is there an actual start date on that? This is Charlie.
I think we're in the middle of a roll call. We don't roll call?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your question again?
I just want to know, is there a start date on the intern?
Next Monday.
Okay, thank you.
If there's nothing else from, nothing further from water and sewer, we'll move to cemetery, please.
Nothing for cemetery. We meet July the 6th at 7 p.m.
Very good. Health and safety. Jen?
Okay, our COVID update as of today, Lebanon, well, the county has tested 9,377 individuals with 1,467 positive cases and 110 deaths to date. For our zip code of 62254, we are currently at 360 tested, which is 211 people since the last time I reported on the 26th, with an additional 27 positive cases. So we now are at a total of 54 positive cases and 0 deaths. The Lebanon Care Center remains at 54 positive or individuals showing symptoms, and they remain at 10 deaths. We have also now added Cedar Ridge with 17 positive and or individuals showing symptoms and 1 death.
Very good. Okay. Anything else? Anything else, Health? Oh, yeah, you got number 2.
The other thing on my agenda is a concern of asbestos being present in the vault in City Hall, which I understand is used for file storage. Charlie has helped out on this with it being in a public building and has had environmental consultants come in and take a look. I believe they were in today. They did take a few samples. Hopefully we'll have some results by the end of the week. They also commented on the ceiling and said that the ceiling was made of a material called tactum, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is normally non-asbestos. But if we were interested in having it tested, that would be an additional $260. So Charlie, I don't know if you have any additional information to add to that, or.
No, that's about it, Jen.
How much was the testing that they did on the safe?
We don't have those results yet, Sherry. They should be in by the end of the week.
For the cost?
Yes.
Okay.
But since it was someone that used to live in Lebanon, went to school here, we were going to get a pretty good deal from what I understand.
Other than that, I have the next Health and Safety Committee meeting as July 20th.
That's June the 15th, I think.
Yeah, but it should be June 15th. And that's it for health and safety.
All right, thank you. Public property.
Nothing for tonight. We meet again July 6th, I think, from 2020 at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Excuse me, George Dale's saying that he's waiting on my other phone for the host.
I was going to say Joe Cioni and Barb are trying to get in and they cannot get in.
Oh, I've got them here. Here, I got Dale. They must have a wrong one because they're not showing up as being in the waiting room. So they need to get the current agenda to make sure they have the right number from Luann.
I just asked her if she's calling in. I don't know.
If they're calling in, it's been the same phone number. But they have to have the right meeting number, ID.
I emailed it to Dr. Cioni this evening, George.
Okay, if you emailed him the number you're on it, they should be in. But they're just not showing up.
Unless he didn't read the email this evening.
Pardon?
So unless he didn't read my email this evening.
That's possible.
Okay, personnel. Rick.
We'll just go to the end of the meeting to talk about the clerk position. Other than that, we meet on the 15th of June.
Very good. All right. Clerk, you have anything?
No, I don't.
Move right along then to treasurer, Paul.
Yeah, so I just got the email from Azavar signing off and accepting the release, and it's notarized. And John, you should have a copy in your mailbox also.
I do have a copy of it, Paul. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Very good.
Excuse me. Evidently Dr. Cioni is on his computer at work, and it keeps saying, like it did for me, it took me about 15 minutes to get in tonight by just clicking the link, and it won't let him in.
There should be, he probably has to do a second click. He probably has to do an install on the little app. It only takes a second to do it. If he's blocking a pop-ups, that's what's happening.
I'll put that. Send it to her.
But if he's clicking on the link that's in the agenda that was online, it should bring him right into the meeting. And he's probably getting a little thing saying, open up Zoom or install Zoom, and they may be blocking it.
George, there was something else going on tonight because both Jerry and I sat here for 10 minutes waiting for it to even go through the normal link.
Right, we could not get in at all.
There was something happening with that link because it took me an extra 10 minutes of sitting here waiting, and Sherry and I were discussing it on text, but it finally let us in.
There's something going on with Zoom then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, this is Dale. I got the same problem going on with my Mac. It keeps telling me to update, but I've updated it like 10 times now.
Yeah, as of May 30th, there was an update to the Zoom program that was required to be installed. Without that update, you cannot use Zoom right now because that is correcting some major security issues.
Excuse me, Sherry, can you ask the Sionis if they would like to try the phone?
Well, hang on, let me see who's here. There is somebody admitting who just has to be admitted. And that person is called user, so I have to find out who that is. And there was also a phone number that's coming in.
I'm sending her text as we're talking, trying to get the information.
Okay, there is somebody called user who is now online, but you have to unmute yourself to talk.
Okay, I'm gonna, while they're getting that all squared away, I'm going to the mayor, and I have a thing on here about a contract for the upcoming electrical supply proposal. I just got that final product or the final bid in on that, so I will take that up at actually, I think what I'll do is I'll give it to the finance committee for next week's meeting. You can look at it.
I really cannot hear you.
I said I didn't get the upcoming electrical supply proposal that's expiring in October.
And what is this?
That is we have a wholesale that goes out and finds the electrical, gets lower rates electrical. Of course, we've been doing this in 2013. So and it's the end of our contract is coming up. I think it's September 30th, and they've gone out and gotten they've searched the wholesale market for the electrical prices, and they want to have us take a look at those for the upcoming renewal.
Now, you had done a contract like that we didn't, well, once it was found, we changed it back.
That's right. It was with the help of Good Energy that it all got changed because the other people who promised us a lower rate, they made some errors, or not errors, they snuck some stuff into us at the management level, and we had a big fight. And it was the company we have now that got us out of that contract with them, and we went back to them.
Mr. Mayor, this is Jenkins. So what you saying, when you got the contract now and you will send it to finance to look and review it?
Well, what I have is I just got the rate structure, for the next term, and it shows the rate structure. It compares it to what we pay with Ameren, and it shows the rate structure versus what we're paying now, and the savings with them. What they do is they go out and they get bids the prices in the wholesale electric market. And then,
right, but what were you saying, that you're gonna get that information to the finance committee?
Yes, I want to get the copy of this proposal, because the proposal that they have shows the amount of savings and such, because our rate is going to be going down for the next term, and particularly they just compare it to our last term that's going down, but they also have given me the cost of what we would pay if we were with Ameren, directly with Ameren.
Okay, thank you.
Are our streetlights still on a separate contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'll now go to department heads. The chief is not with us tonight. He has some family issues that he's dealing with. So anything from Jody? Do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Kenny?
Nothing.
Dale?
No, I have nothing for tonight, sir.
Okay, Michelle?
Michelle was here. Where'd she
She's
go?
muted.
Well, you're muted, Michelle. Michelle is still muted. Here, I've unmuted her now.
Okay. I have a quick synopsis on the credit card choices if you guys want to hear them.
Absolutely.
We've narrowed it down to 2. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We narrowed it down to 2. One of them is the GovPayNet, 0 cost to the city. The service fee is 2.65% with a minimum of $1 for a service fee. There's a 2-week time frame to set it up, and we do have to sign a contract that we would send to John if we chose them. They do provide 2 swipe devices for free. It is used by Trenton, Illinois. So talk with the clerk there. They are very happy with it. They've had it for 5 years. It does not store the card, so the liability would be completely on them. The downside is there is no, if you pull up your account, there's no account number. You can't do anything and see how much you owe. It just strictly is just a card run. The other one is PayStar. They're used by Tri-Township. We got that from Penny. And we talked with them on Friday and again today. There is 0 cost to the city. The service fee is $2.95 from 0 to $100, and then 2.95% from $100 and 1 penny up. They have 2 swipe devices for free. There is a 2-week time frame to set up. Also, we would have to do a contract, which we send to John. Does not store card numbers for liability as well. This does link up with our Locus, and we could see the bill, how much they owe if they log in. So we like this. Trish and I talked, and Luann talked to him today. He's a little bit higher. He's 2.95 instead of 2.65. So we told him we'd really like to go with you, but we would really like to have a cheaper rate. So right now we're in negotiation. If we can get him down to the other one, then I'll type up something to present for the finance committee on Monday so they can take a look at it, and then we can decide which way we want to go.
Very good. Okay. We are at audience.
Anybody from the audience? You have to remember to unmute to talk, or you can chat.
All right, then we shall go to unfinished business. Update on phase 2 and phase 3 projects of McKendree Park and Merrill Drive. Phase 2, as we mentioned in the previous meeting, that's in our IDOT budget for calendar year 2020, and the plans are to have it done this calendar year. We don't have any projection on phase 3 because we don't go to phase 3 till we get done with phase 2. Any update on census, Sherry?
I've got a meeting with him next week on the phone. We're now slowly growing. I did just put everything out on Facebook again. Still wanting to get to the 75%. We're at 61.7% right now. People, keep trying. It's a little difficult when we can't personally meet and do different things for to promote it more so than Facebook.
Very good. Okay, update on the letter to McKendree concerning no parking on cemetery property near the north property lines. I haven't done anything on the letter, but over the weekend I did have a chance to speak with President Dobbins, and we are going to set up a personal time to have a face-to-face meeting to discuss many things, this being part of our discussion. So that's the update for that. Update on the pay structure for the city collector. I guess I assume that will be taken care of in the executive session, correct?
Yes.
Approval of Matt Lally to run the Zoom meeting.
Matt?
Is that done? Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Lawley is a graduate student. In his area of concentration or major is digital marketing. He's familiar with Zoom. He will also be spending some time assisting us with our website for the next 8 weeks and bringing it up to date. Particularly, he would be a person who would be able to help integrate the credit card thing into our website so that it's in the properly noted. The website really needs to have some work done to it. There are some pages that have no real link, and there's some information there that really needs to be there that's not there. And Matt would be a person who could do that. All he would need from Luann would be the passwords and everything he needs to get into it and some direction as to what we want in there, and he will do it. And so, that is also the property committee would be involved with that. But Matt can do that. He also will be taking over running these Zoom meetings so that he's concentrating only on Zoom and not concentrating on making sure the meeting is there and everything else, just like I just now had somebody wanting to join the meeting, so I missed that. I can't concentrate on those things while I am participating in the meeting. So he is a very needed person. We're asking for 8 to 10 hours a week for 8 weeks. He'll be making the minimum that we pay. So I'll move that we hire Matt Lally to do our technology conference calls and the website for 8 weeks.
Yes, Charlie, I'll second.
Okay, Charlie, got it.
Matt, just so you know, Matt Lally does work at Grit and Tonic. You've probably all seen him there. He's the tall guy with the dark hair.
I'll add one other caveat about Matt, that in our discussion with the website, Dr. Darren Cross of McKendree has also volunteered, knows Matt very well, to kind of do some brainstorming with regards to the, join us with some brainstorming to what we can do on the website to make it more productive for not only the city, but Kindry also. So, but with that, then, is there any further discussion on the approval of Matt Lally? Can we go to vote? All right, then we will have a roll call, please.
I just need to know the salary or the amount. Did you say base?
The base, yes.
Okay. At base.
What,
Is the
I'm sorry,
base
I did
minimum
not
wage
get
is
that.
not
What is the
there?
Sorry if we had Jessica and Sherry talk at the same time. Sherry,
What is the pay?
I'm not sure what the base pay is.
Oh,
Is it higher than minimum wage, I assume?
I don't know.
Michelle, you still on?
who?
Yes.
Michelle,
Can you give us an idea what the big starting pay is?
Minimum wage is $9.25, and then July the 1st, it goes to $10.
So given the timing, I would assume that we'd go to the $10, correct?
I would
Okay, I
recommend,
just wanted to, yeah.
I would recommend the $10, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We ready for roll call now? Roll call, Luann?
Johnson,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Whitty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zerlini,
Yes.
Farrell,
Definitely yes.
Gale,
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
All right, very good. We shall go to new business then, which is discussion and approval of a request from Brick Street Merchants to have the
Skipped
new,
one, Rich.
You skipped one, yeah, number 6.
Number 6.
oh, a discussion about turning St. Louis Street into one-way and resident business concerns.
I have been contacted. I didn't put it on there, but I believe that there would have been public comments about this. I was contacted. I've had three business people on the Brick Street have significant concerns about it. Dr. Sione has concerns because he has no way to tell his patients where they can park to get into his place. And he has elderly patients. He's concerned. I received a lengthy email, and I believe a couple of us did, from from the optometry center, Dr. Thorpe, and she had an emergency at her place on Friday, and because the ambulance people didn't know what was going on, they had difficulty getting there and getting into it. And I had an earful from Dr. Jazz. Paul Krumsig said he just doesn't like it. It just is impacting his business, and he's not happy with it. None of the merchants or the restaurants put anything out on the streets this weekend. I'm not sure they're planning to. They've been upset about it. The ones that I've talked to.
Okay, let me tell you where we're at on this now. We weren't ready to finish. We were not finished setting it up on Friday, and I've been to. Okay, I also got contacted by the eye doctor, and I sent her an email and explained what we were doing, and told her that with the concerns that I heard over the weekend, just this morning I'm with the street crew, and we felt that a reasonable answer to the parking issue was to turn away from the diagonal parking and go to, to turn away from the parallel parking and go to diagonal parking. So today was spent making lines for diagonal parking, which will improve the parking situation for both Dr. Sione and also Lebanon Optometry. And I was, Dr. Jazz had a conversation with him, and the way he left, he said, I'm not happy, but it seems to be working okay with him because he's open only 2 days a week, and he's using the side of his building where he has his tables as such for his delivery. So the front of his building will actually be parking area, the diagonal parking, and the restaurants. I talked to the Cobblestone several times, and they've opted to not for the parking in front of the building because they have the patio. The restaurant, of course, there'll be parking in front of the retail. Now it'll be more parking because we went to this diagonal idea. And I went to Grit Tonic and talked to them at length, and they still would like to have some room out front of their building, and that's going to be arranged. And tomorrow we're going in and finish up the project by putting some barriers in for those restaurants that want space in the street. I talked to the Lebanon Chiropractic because they were concerned about parking, and our plan resolves their concerns. I have to apologize. I did not talk to Dr. Sione, but when I heard his concerns, it made sense. And this morning, that's why we've with our plan with the diagonal parking, it should give him 2 parking places, one of them which is handicap and a regular parking place in front of his premises. We aren't doing any delineation on the 3rd block, so that's because that's pretty much just an open parking area. I think we've covered our bases. If anyone has any recommendations where we could even improve it better, we're certainly open to any ideas that someone might have. But we've had talks with the people that are going to be some of the questions from the retailers. Can we use the sidewalk? And the answer to that question is yes, but we have to make sure that it's kept open, and that has something to do with the Disability Act. We can't block sidewalks, obviously, which is no problem with any of them because they say, we have to have space to actually deliver the product to the people too. So we don't want to close. We can't close off the sidewalk. So it seems like everything after today, after we made these adjustments, seems like we're on the right track.
I did have one person contact me about handicap parking, and if you've got the spot, Dr. Sione, that takes care of one of them. The parking lots are not a problem because they're marked. However, there is one handicap spot just to the west of Grit and Tonic. Is that one going to be accommodated with anything?
Yes, and how we're doing this is we're going to take some buckets and put some sand or gravel, probably gravel in it, and we have posts, and we're going to put at the diagonal parking, we're going to mark diagonal parking space for handicap parking.
There's a handicap on Pearl Street also, right at the Brick Street.
Right, there is one there, but that isn't impacted by the change in traffic, where
No.
it should not be.
No,
The
you
only
were asking
only
about-
one that would have been at the Grit and Tonic now.
Well,
George, this is Charlie. Did Sione's ever get in?
I don't know.
It's on the computer somewhere.
Okay, there's one called User, and I'm not sure if that's him or not. If we wanted to hear them, they would have to unmute or use
Yeah.
the chat.
I don't know if he wasn't a
Oh,
happy camper.
User says yes. That's Dr. Sione.
Yeah.
That's it.
I have also heard from numerous people. I have been checking with people, as has Jessica. I don't know if she's going to be on here because the baby was giving her a little bit of grief.
She's
I
there.
also heard from a couple of residents. I've got an email from Bart, and he's like, this should not be. The concern that I have is now people are confused. I don't know where this $4,300 is coming from, but I don't know if there's something else going up on that street to make it a little more safe for people. If we do not provide barriers between the driving lane and the restaurants, they cannot afford to go out and purchase those or do anything. The other thing we've got to think of is that these residents are clueless. There's been a car parked going the wrong way since before it was wrong to go the wrong way up there by Grit and Tonic. I don't know why, but he's been there for like 4 days. But now you've got people that are backing up from a diagonal, possibly not seeing from what's on the other side, into a single lane where people have nowhere to go to get out of the way. And there should have been a letter written where everybody knew what was going on, because honestly, we didn't even know it was going to take place. So now we're getting all of this. I still can't figure out why we have Monroe closed. I know that you said it was because there was a stop sign there, but it's just, I just don't see that if the restaurants don't use it, why do we have it like this? I think more research should have been done and fixed. How is someone, one of the questions I have is, we got somebody coming from St. Louis, let's say, or even O'Fallon, shoot, even Lebanon, and they just see parking spots up on the street. How are they going to know? They think they're going to come up, go to eat, shop around, and they can stay in that same parking spot that should be for, say, Dr. Sione or the eye doctor. How is that going to be notated?
That's one question. The other thing that came up, first of all, AJ, Tini said there are a lot of cars making U-turns to park on the side of the street. It's not clear that it's a one-way street with parking on both sides going one way. There are people who still think there have been other cars. In fact, there may be a picture in the advertiser on Wednesday or tomorrow Wednesday. It's not about the parking, it's about something else, but it's going to clearly show 2 cars head to head parked on the street.
Yeah, and the residents, you know, everybody should have gotten a letter with what is going on. And there's too much confusion on those 3 blocks of the street right now, and it's not helping anybody.
Yeah, this is Charlie again. I'll agree with Sherry on that, because what ticked a lot of people off is they didn't receive a letter, phone call. There was no communication. And a lot of people are really ticked about that.
That's right. That's what I heard from those who've contacted me.
And you know, again, the doctor, or not the doctors, the restaurants, you said, Rich, you said that Cobblestone is not going to do in the street ever during this one-way deal?
Said they didn't need it because of their other thing. They would use the parking. They would rather have the diagonal parking, because then they can continue the pickup services that they have. So that would they would rather use that front part for their pickup and delivery process.
So if we don't have barricades to protect the restaurants that we have, pretty much all this was for naught.
We do. Tomorrow we're going to. We've made. We've got plans that we set up today and start to. We have everything in place to put up some barricades for those restaurants.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
I said we have made arrangements to get the materials to put up barricades for those restaurants that want to utilize such. And the ones that we've had that have requested have been
So,
Tonic and I'm having the ones on
Grit and Tonic, the Lantern,
yes.
Ron's,
What about
Brewers.
What about Mangiano's? She's starting to open now again.
When she opens, she can tell us. Right now, they're going to be that's lined out. But if she wants to open that area for herself, then we'll get her the barriers and the markings too.
And this is Charlie again. Do we know how many people are actually going to participate in this?
This is an idea to open that area up to make it. We have signs that say "Open for Business" at the entranceway to that all. It's primarily was to make it easier for the restaurants who have to, if they're going to serve tables, it has to be outdoors. And it was for that reason. At the same time, we want to be able to accommodate more parking for any visitors too. So this combination of trying to come up with an idea that serve the retail, serve the offices. You know, I'll take full responsibility for not getting around and getting a letter to everyone. I tried to talk to many people that I could sometimes, but I didn't get to everyone, and that's my bad.
Mr. Mayor, this is Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
So now everybody knows something's going on uptown on the Brick Street. And I was wondering the feasibility of having the residents and the businesses get together, and then they decide what they want to do, and then they bring it to the council and let the council know what they want to do. And then we look at their plan, and if there's nothing, bad about it, safety or anything like that, we entertain that and maybe go along with what they want instead of telling them how we want to run it.
Well, I've been in conversations. The only people that I really didn't have direct conversation with was the officers, and that would be the optometrist, Dr. Sione, because it was my feeling that really what they would want is to make sure they had parking for the place. And we realized when we were from some of the talk over the weekend and discussion with people that if we did the parallel parking, that would actually diminish the amount of space available for parking. And given the fact that we were moving to one lane, that opened up those side lanes to the possibility of it would be better to do diagonal parking. So that's the way we were downtown today, setting up for diagonal parking, putting in the lines and such. And tomorrow we were waiting on some cones and such. We discussed the ideas that we can use those cones and set up barriers to indicate those where the restaurants are serving.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would like, my thought is, and I'd like everybody else to get in on this if they want, but the intent was to provide options for the businesses to open up and have some revenue. That was the intent of the plan.
Yes.
So the intent was not to harm anybody or leave anybody out. It was just, businesses wanted to open up, they wanted to make some revenue.
Sure.
So I don't think we should have attach a negative connotation to it. I just think now that this is in place, we can tweak it by getting response from the citizens and from the businesses after they talk about it or discuss it, and then bring it to us and let us know what they want to do, and then we can help them out with that.
Yeah, tomorrow, like I said, we're pretty much finished with the setup, and if anyone has an idea that can make it better, I mean, certainly we're open to it. We're willing. We're quite flexible on what we can do, and with that in mind, if someone has a suggestion on how to make it better, we're certainly open to it.
Rich, I do have a question for you.
Pardon?
This is Rick. I have a question for you.
Yes.
It's my understanding that the Warning Lights Company the key people that provided the stuff, came out Wednesday and set up a portion of what they were supposed to do. And then they did not finish setting it up until Monday, today. Is that correct?
That's correct, but,
Okay.
you know, I better back off. Were they totally responsible for all, because, you know, we were everything was fluid and we were changing the plans. And from the original plan, they didn't, we were short a couple of barricades. And without those barricades in place, particularly at the entranceway on the 100 block of West St. Louis Street, it really threw everything into a state of confusion, for lack of a better term. Like I said, we got a hold of them. They brought those water-filled barriers in today, and then we, through our street crew's ingenuity, made a continuing barrier that focused the traffic into a center lane. And we got some marking tape from Morning Lights to line out the outline of the street, of the driveway right down the middle, and also we have some marking tape which we marked out parking spots on a diagonal.
Okay.
We have a
But
comment.
they were supposed to provide that tape and put that tape down, correct?
They provided some, but when we changed the direction, I had to buy some more tape. So.
My only concern is if they were supposed to put it all together on Wednesday, they didn't get it finished till Monday. We should not be paying for that until Monday.
We should get a discount.
Yeah, I'll certainly have that discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you. AJ Dontigny commented that there are not enough signs explaining what's going on, so that when individuals turn into those streets, they don't really understand that there has been a change in traffic pattern. Usually, to be very frank, when I've gone to places where there are changes in traffic patterns, there are signs that say change in traffic pattern or something like that, so people know that this is a change. It is there. So I understand that. We don't have that signage out there.
Yeah, Mr. Doctor makes perfect. I agree with him. There were not enough signs, and we are taking action to. In fact, we had some signs made that, and we're getting more signs. So there, yes, I absolutely agree, and that's another thing that we'll be working on again tomorrow.
Another concern I have is that we chatted about this, and then you came at council, and then you came back and you talked about the cost at the committee last Monday, and we had a lot of questions. We had a whole lot of questions, and nothing was up yet. And the next thing we know, it's up. Those barricades, nothing should have gone up until we said, you know, this sounds like a good plan. So we never voted on it. And I honestly think that we need to vote. You know, those barricades should not be there. I don't know. I just think that it's a lot of money for something that I just hope that there's no lawsuit for somebody backing out, backing into somebody, somebody getting hurt. Something would have worked, but it needed full planning. And I don't know why we didn't vote. This isn't something that you just do willy-nilly without a vote.
Hey, George, this is Charlie. Could you check and see what the user had to say about?
Yeah, Dr. Sione said the Illinois Department of Public Health shut me down for 2.5 months, and now you are making access to my business, I don't know what, probably difficult, for 60 more days. So he's concerned about the access to his business after having been shut down, because he told me on the phone, and I got an email from him, he's really concerned because patients don't know how to get in. He doesn't know what to tell patients about parking. He didn't have designated parking before, but there was most of his patients I know from experience are daytime patients, and now they're really going to be, they need to know.
Right.
He's
We've
concerned.
made adjustments to increase the parking from standpoint of getting to this place. It is true that they would either have to come up this place with the side streets to turn to the west, or come in on the main drag if they're from the other end of town. Those folks, it shouldn't be any interference whatsoever.
We can't hear you.
You can't hear you, Rich. You got to get closer to the computer.
You got to talk to your computer.
With the that again, like I said before, the fact that we've made the diagonal parking where really actually increased the parking area on this place. Don't know if Brewers is going to utilize the place out front or for anything but parking because they have the patio in back. I don't know that Yvonne has made a decision on that. If she doesn't use that, then parking pretty much in that area is going to be the same as it always has been, except it's going to be diagonal, which actually increases the number of parking places. So the way we have changed our plan actually gives more access to parking up there at this particular time than it was on a normal basis. Do you have to maybe go an extra block around to get to the front of this building? That's true, but that is what it is.
How are you going to make it obvious that those two spots in front of Dr. Sione's are for Dr. Sione, or the two spots in front of the eye doctor are for the eye doctor?
Well, the eye doctor already has a sign up there that says customer parking only.
I can't hear you.
I said the eye doctor already has a sign that says for customer parking only. And there's certainly no reason why if we have those two parking spots in front of Dr. Sione that we can put a sign there that says these spots are reserved for Dr. Sione.
There's somebody. George, can you see?
Yeah, I will. Dr. Sione is saying that following CDC guidelines, his reception will have to hunt patients down to pre-screen them with COVID-related screening. So that's why he needs to know where his patients are going to park. You know, he asked the question, how will you police the parking? And the chief's not here, but it would seem that during the day, how are they going to police the parking to ensure that only the patients are in those parking places, because they do need to have COVID tests. They do need to have COVID tests to be able to go into the office.
Yeah,
George?
This is Charlie.
George, this is Dick.
Yeah.
Can you ask Dr. Sione, would they resolve his issue if we put a sign parking for his business only?
Well, we're waiting for him. He says no. That wouldn't solve his problem. Then he's
And to hunt patients down to pre-screen them, because I've been to, I've had a couple of doctor's appointments over the past 2 weeks, and each time that I've gone in, the receptionist meets you, and you have pre-screening done before you go in. What they ask you certain questions, that was done by one of the doctors and the other doctor. You just went in and someone met you at the door. They asked you the questions, the temperature. So I'm not quite sure I understand the hunt patients down.
Well, I'm kind of curious. Now. If we open the street back up 2 ways, traffic going 2 ways, what would happen at one of the businesses at Dr. Sione's or the eye doctors or whoever? What would happen then if the street was open and people just parked like they did before we made the street one way? You still wouldn't have no guarantee that you'd have parking for your customers at your individual place unless that sign was up.
I would say
Been any
that's
guarantees
true.
This place in the past, and if there's something going on like a meeting, a chamber of commerce meeting or such, when there's a lot of people parking up there, that situations always exist. I know that people will use the 300 block in front of the playhouse. They also use the side street to go to Dr. Sione's office. We have a city parking lot. Actually, that's not a handicap area, although there is a handicap right on the corner there, so it's a matter of crossing the street. So as I look at it, I understand the concern, and that's why we tried to change the pattern of the parking in the street to make it more parking available. But the way I see what we've done today, the guarantees aren't any different with parking, except that we're happy to put a sign up. And certainly, we're going to put a sign up for the handicap parking. And then have another parking place, and we can put a sign on it. Some of that you have to trust that the public will honor those signs the same way they honor the handicap sign.
Does Warning Lights have anything else to put up?
I don't know, because when we were going through all this stuff this morning, we pretty much came to the conclusion that through our own capabilities, and Jody had a bunch of new cones coming in, that we could utilize those cones and we could get the job done without having to hire on for any additional materials and labor from Warning Lights.
Dr. Signoni has given me another note here on chat. He's saying he does have a sign behind his building that says designated parking for this building only, and he routinely has to chase people out of his own parking lot, let alone the street. So people that come to this town don't necessarily, apparent from what he's saying, don't necessarily follow parking signs. We have no enforcement. It might be a good, I'll be very frank, this has hit sometimes when these things hit my brain, I get in trouble, but it might be a question to ask the chief if he could, for the next week or two, do a little stronger parking enforcement in that 2-block area, even if it's just warnings, or if a car gets a warning and they call it in and they show that it's already had a warning, then it gets a ticket.
I certainly see no problem with that. I'm sure the chief would be open to that. There's probably going to be a learning curve here, so I have personally have no problem with that, and I would suspect that the chief would also agree that we can get that done.
So you'll talk to the chief then, or you want one of us? Okay.
Can I ask a question real fast?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. The barricades for Grit and Tonic, I know I spoke with the Lantern, and for the restaurants, when they talked about their concerns, what kind of barricades you mentioned that we're getting those for them and setting them up. What kind of, are those the water-filled barricades, or what are we doing in those spaces?
It's just we're getting the cones in, and the barricades aren't going to be the kind that won't allow, to prevent a car from running through the barricades. I guess technically, even with the water barricades, a car hitting those they're not. It's not like you're hitting a brick wall. So, but our plan is to use those cones, new cones that we got, and put the main concern, I think, from what I've heard, is that we don't want people walking out of those areas into the street. And when we talk about barricades, we're actually just trying to make it a very noticeable offset from the street. And like I said, that's one of the reasons too that we limited it to 12 feet into the street, because that leaves a lot of room from the driving lane between the driving lane and where those barriers will be put up.
Yeah, the cones that we have that we're going to put out We also have a rope that has reflective tape built into it, and we'll be able to hang streamers from it. Now, a lot of like, say for instance, Grit and Tonic, for example, if they wanted to protect their area a little bit, then when they come in, their employees can put their cars before and after the area they're trying to cover. So you have a barrier there, and then all you have to do is find something for the link side of going along the street.
Yeah, this is Charlie again. I thought we had discussed something about maybe sawhorse type barricades, something more substantial. I mean, cones and a rope don't seem like very thing.
The employees parking there is just going to take up parking space that's needed for customers.
Well, in their case, it's nice they have the city parking lot right next door.
Can you speak up, Rich? We can't hear
I
you.
said right now they have the city parking lot that's right next door, so they're fine with the park with regards to parking. They just needed some space to put some tables out because they don't have very much. They only have room for a couple of tables there if they use the sidewalk. So.
Has this been discussed with Grit and Tonic in the Lantern at all? Because it's been a few days since I was at the Lantern, but when I talked to him, it sounded like if there wasn't a more stable barrier that he didn't plan on using the space. He's got an insurance background and is worried just like I was. And then Grit and Tonic kind of expressed the same concerns to me that if there wasn't a, actual barrier that they didn't think that they would use the space. I know that they also set some tables up in the mini park, and that worked really well for them, I think, and looked really nice, to where I don't know if it's worth the risk to them to be on the road. And that's kind of what I'm worried about, is that we're doing all this and I don't know that they're actually going to be able to use it or feel like it's safe to use it.
Okay, I'm a point taken. Talani and I have had numerous discussions about it, and if Talani has an issue, he certainly knows me well enough that he can talk to me about it.
Rich, could I ask you a question here? It's more about giving the council some information. I got the commitment for title insurance on 108 West St. Louis Street over the weekend. I sent that to Mr. Hamrick today, and I called the title company. They can schedule a closing for next week. I don't know what so the first thing I want to let the council know was that we can close on this within the next 10 days. I don't know what the condition of that land is, but I'm wondering if somehow that space could be used for people to set up tables.
Well, John, it's pretty unfinished. It's at a pretty significant slope. I think it would take an awful lot to actually set that area for any kind of dining.
Okay.
Outside of that area that's been used at the square before, no, it's not in a position to do that.
Okay.
That's why one of the reasons why our crew was opening up the mini park last week. It was at the request of the garden club to take care of that area in there to get those ewes out of there because they were overgrown and there were some other safety concerns with regards to some of the stuff that might be or is reported to have been going on back there in the dark of night. So then it turned out to be another idea that then that space would be available for people's dining also. So we've been working with the garden club, and that's the reason why we pulled all those bushes out of there, both for safety and also the possibility of redesigning that area so that it's a more user-friendly park.
So is this something that the council is going to vote? Well, I don't know. I just have a problem with this whole thing, the way it was done. And I don't think it's fair to the businesses that they are the ones suffering for this, and that shouldn't be.
I don't think we are able to vote on this because we did give the mayor the authority to do a lot of this stuff related to COVID in the city with that ordinance. And
Do we have to re-vote or renew whatever the proper word is, John? Do we have to renew that order?
no,
And
he did.
have it been?
If I'm not mistaken, John, the mayor signs something each week.
After that's right, George. After each council meeting, the mayor signs something which extends the way I wrote this ordinance is it'll continue in effect as long as the governor's executive order remains in effect.
Right.
So if the governor says tomorrow that he rescinds his executive order, that automatically rescinds the mayor's.
Why is this COVID related? The shops can be open and the restaurants can serve outside.
And they all don't have outside facilities.
Well,
That's
I was
the
told
issue.
today that there are some serving inside as long as they have an open area. Like somebody could open a front and a back door, and so they're serving inside.
That is something that came out of Chicago. And Chicago did that because in Chicago, they have some restaurants that are completely open on the front of the building. I mean, all the doors, the whole wall folds back. So it's basically an open area. I'm not sure a door being open comes close to that. And I don't know what the health would say about that.
Well, Cobblestone's got
And
that.
Luann has her hand up.
Let me address that issue because I handed out the guidelines from the state with regards to phase 3. And if you read those, it says if you can take down 50% of your wall, which Cobblestone has those 2 big openings in its wall, then that area that is adjacent to that opening is deemed like a patio, an outdoor patio.
So you could eat inside there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, I ask, why did we do this without authorization from the council when it's not helping the businesses?
How do we know that it's not helping the businesses when we haven't even?
Well, because everybody's so dang confused, they can't see straight.
Well,
They don't know what's going on.
I guess that's your interpretation. I don't share that interpretation.
I have been talking to the businesses. I have been receiving emails from not only the businesses, but a person that was an alderman, but nothing was said. There wasn't a plan. We didn't discuss it to the fullest, and now we have this mess and have spent over $4,000 for it.
Anyway, this is Jenkins. We've had a lot of discussion on this. Now, if the businesses don't want to do it, then maybe we should just scrap the plan altogether and let them go back to what was going on before we tried to come up with a plan so they can make some revenue and open up.
The barricades are up, Mr. Jenkins.
But wait a minute. Yes, I understand they're up. But you're saying nobody's happy with the street being one way. They're not happy with the system. But nobody's come to me and gave me a suggestion other than opening up the street 2 ways. So if you open up the street 2 ways, that means nobody will be able to use the street to serve or put tables out or anything, which means they may make less revenue, and you can only get so many tables on the sidewalk. So if nobody's happy with the plan, I think either they should come to us and let us know what their plan should be and what they want to see. And then we can work with them and see if we can implement that. We can start that, help them out. And if that don't work, although the money has been spent, we can just scrap the whole plan and Just let things go back the way they were until the government says we can open back to normal business. Otherwise, we're going to be hashing this out every meeting because somebody's not going to be satisfied. My thing is, we get information from the majority, and the majority rules, and we can work with the minority to see if we can help them out as far as their businesses and their living quarters go. But somebody needs to come to the council and let us know what they want instead of us trying to put something out there and then everybody saying they're not satisfied with it.
A lot of the businesses don't want those barricades.
Can I make a suggestion, Rich? Sure. Because we keep hearing a lot of businesses, a lot of businesses, a lot of businesses. We need a list of all businesses, all representatives that says, yes, I will use the area. No, I do not. That needs to be submitted to the city council, up to the city clerk's office. So we know 75% of the businesses want the space or 75% of them don't want the space. Right now we're going on, different people talking to different people.
It really, well, I've talked to just about every one of them, and it really is more beneficial to the restaurants who want to use the street. And the street it sounds like Cobblestone's not going to use it.
Okay, Sherry, let me cut you off for a minute. We can beat this a dead horse. We need a list of all of the businesses, not restaurants, not dentist's office, optometry. We need a list of every single business on the street that says, yes, I will use it. No, I will not. So we can make an informed decision instead of just beating a dead horse here.
Well,
Right.
I've got
I
two
agree.
businesses that are no, and for sure.
Sherry, can you list those businesses and give us the
I
name?
can. Well,
of the-
Dr. Sione, I've got a very long email from, and Dr. Thorpe, I've got a very long email from. I talked to Robin from Robin's Nest. She's clueless because this whole thing is confusing.
We don't want to know the explanation. Yes or no? Do you have a list?
No.
Okay, because we don't need all the explanations. What I'm seeing is, from what I've got from the discussion tonight, is most of the businesses really don't want the street closed like that. There's one that will benefit, and that's Grit and Tonic, and I think we could accommodate them by giving them a piece of the parking lot to use for their customers because it's right next to their building. And they could put some tables out there because they're only open 3 nights a week, and they could put a couple tables. They put tables out there. They don't have to go very far. They've got a nice surface to put tables on. The street doesn't have to be an issue. So let's get some real research, because one of the things Dr. Siani wants to ask is, was there some research? Do we have research? He said these questions should have been asked and answered before the barricade went up. So it's confusing. I have to agree with it. I agree with him on that. I also know that right now, from what we've gotten tonight, there's only one business that really wants to use the street, and they do need someplace because they don't have any place else. The Lantern really isn't interested in using the street. They have a couple tables out front. Customers are doing takeout, and the tables happen to be there, and they've got a little patio out back, so they have a place, so they're good. The only business that has a concern about this is probably Grit and Tonic, and I would suggest that we give them a piece of the parking lot.
Or the park,
Well,
like they did the other night.
Right.
Excuse me, this is Jenkins. We're still trying to hash out a plan for the business.
Right,
Now,
we need their feedback.
Rick made a suggestion that we get a list of the businesses. I want to make a suggestion that the businesses join in on the meeting and let us know what they want. They can do that on the meeting and give us their concerns and give us their suggestions.
Well, I
And
know.
then we'll get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Right. And Luann has had her hand up for a while. She'd like to get in on something. Luann?
I think Rick has the right idea that it sounds like Sherry talked to people and the mayor and some of the owners talked.
Luann, you muffled, Luann.
You're really
Can't hear you.
loud. You're up close to the mic. Back off.
Okay, okay, back off.
The mic. You're too close.
Well, I'm sitting about a foot and a half away from it. So is this better?
That's better.
I just think that we've gotten some people talking to these people and some people talking to these people, and nobody knows exactly what's going on as far as that. So I think Rick's got a good idea. Come up with the list. Go take the list to them. Don't make them come to you because you're making them have to go, leave their business. So go to the business and have them talk to them and have them sign up or a yay or a nay.
And it needs to be a designated person, not several of us, so that they know who to talk to.
I have been in contact with most of the businesses already, so I only have a few more to talk to. I will go tomorrow and I will compile that list because I only have a handful left that I haven't actually talked to.
Thank you.
The question that I have is, Mayor, is there a way that you can send me an email or let me know what additional steps are being taken so that when I go in, I can have an actual idea of what the plan is or what we're willing to provide or what we're talking about for barricades, that kind of thing, so that I can communicate clearly to the business what we're talking about so that they can give an honest vote on if they're in favor of it or if they think it will hurt their business more than benefit it.
Okay, we're prepared to put together a sign that would say this parking here is exclusive for them. For those like Gritton County, we'll put up the cones with the reflective tape or reflective rope. But every business, like the retail businesses or the offices, we're willing to make signs that say this is exclusive parking for each particular business.
Okay, perfect. I will touch base then with those few businesses and I'll send a follow-up to the businesses I have talked to and ask them to give me kind of a final decision on how they feel about it, and I will get a compiled list and I will have that for us here in the next couple days.
Very good.
Jeff will also ask them for their suggestions, please.
Right. What was that?
I was saying when you talk to them, ask them for suggestions, what they would like to see. So we won't just be telling them what we're going to do, but let's see what they want.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is Charlie. I mentioned this last week. I still think you need to set up some kind of prototype, whatever you want to call it, out in front of one of those businesses so that the people can see what your kind of final product is, if you will.
If we're going to continue closing the street, yes, I think we need to do that. But at this point, my gut feeling is we open up the street, we give Grit and Tonic a couple parking places, and we've solved everybody's problem.
Can I say something here?
Yes.
I can add Jessica to the Brick Street Merchant page if that makes it easier to contact all of the businesses. That way she can get their opinions.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, AJ.
Could I have a list of that too at City Hall? Because many times people want something to send out to the businesses and I have no list with current emails and numbers and stuff.
I can put you something together for that.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
And Dr. Sione also commented that the way it's set up now, no one, it's just for putting barricades in front of Grit and Tonic. If this is the plan we have right now for the next 4 days, no one can use the parking lot in front of Grit and Tonic for 4 days since they are not open. So they're actually, 4 days a week they're not open. So we're closing off parking for a business that's not open, that's only open 3 nights a week, and it's 3 nights a week.
Well, with the cone idea too, they would be quite easily moved.
Yeah, that's where I think the parking lot would be a good thing for them. It takes away parking from other people and from themselves, but then the parking on the street would still be there.
Those are all good considerations.
Just
all have
my
our-
ideas. Thank you. We spent over an hour on this topic.
And still
All right.
nothing's resolved.
And nothing's resolved, right?
Well, I think it was resolved is we're going to, that Jesse is going to lead the charge on getting some, which businesses are gonna want to do what, if they want exclusive parking, if they want, whatever they want, we'll try to see what they want and get their opinions and see if we can answer their needs. So, but I come out of this. So Jessica, I'll look forward to hearing from you.
Sounds good.
Okay. I think okay, now a new business discussion approval of a request from Brick Street Merchants to have new parking lot closed from 1:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays of July 1, August 5th, and September 2nd for a farmer's market.
So before the virus started, some of the merchants and some of the other people in town have started planning to try to put together a farmer's market. We would like to do it the first 3 Wednesdays of each month. So that would be July 1st, August 5th, September 2nd. We would need space between about 2 and 8 p.m. And there's been some concern that closing the parking lot with the street being a one-way would be too hectic, too confusing. So we also thought that maybe if that wasn't possible, we could use the four-way area by where Edward Jones Building used to be.
Discussion?
This is Charlie. I agree with that 100%.
This is George. I think that would be good. It's one way to get people into town. However, it's going to be probably contingent upon moving into phase 4 because of the potential of having more than 50 people there. That's going to be an outdoor thing. That would be an issue. That would be a concern until we know whether we're going to phase 4 on June the 28th. So the July 1st one, I would suspect that will be in phase 4. But even if phase 4 is limiting to 50. So how would you handle that, AJ?
Well, it is an outdoor space, so we would make sure all the tables were 6 feet apart. There are quite a few other towns that are going back to doing their farmers markets, and they're doing the same things. They're making sure there's enough space between the tables, asking people to wear their masks, things like that.
Well, personally, I think it's a great idea because we used to have a farmers market in the summertime up there back in the 80s. It was quite prominent.
I think it's a great idea. My only concern is, of course, the restrictions we're being placed under and being advertised as not following them.
Well, once again, I don't think it's unique to our town to look at a farmer's market, and I'm sure that there's others that are in place that probably have some good ideas of how to do it in a way that it meets the phase 4 requirements. So it's one of those things that I think it's a great idea, and I think the details, because there's other people doing the same thing, can easily be determined and worked out.
And I think we're on the way to phase 4, but we'll have to wait and see for sure.
We would like.
This is Jenkins.
Sorry.
I think your plan B would be better to have it on the corner there at the four-way stop than at the parking lot, because we can use the parking lot for parking and people can walk down to that intersection or to the corner. But if you have it on the parking lot, then they take up parking spaces and people can't park on 4, and it's really limited parking right there behind that lot you talked about at the four-way. So I think it'd be better to set the market up on the corner there.
I have to agree because you need parking to have the market, and if the street's full, the parking lot's there. Plus, if you have it on the four-way on the new park there on the four-way in that area, people on Route 4 are going to see it.
I know back in the old days, it was the first block, just like half of the first block, first and 100 block in West St. Louis. People, they used to use the parking area back in those days. And then, of course, went into both sides of the street on the, right there in the first 100 block at the square. That's the way it was done in the past.
We would like to start small and hopefully continue to grow this over the next few years to a much larger farmers market. We originally had about 5 dates picked, but with the virus, you know, we haven't been able to do anything.
Well, I think personally, I think it's a grand idea, and I think that we figure this out.
Can I make a motion that we approve the request?
So what's your motion, Mr. Jenkins?
To approve the request for the farmers market on the days requested, with the exception of them being on the parking lot, that they move down to the intersection on 4 and St. Louis Avenue.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Got George as a second. Any further discussion on this idea?
Luann has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was just going to say that Vine Street Market opens in Fallon on Saturday, so they must be planning something. Somebody might go over there and see how they're doing it.
Well, they've got that big open area. They can open up that building.
And they've also, they were doing some kind of a drive-through in one of the sports parks out there north of Eagle Ridge or whatever that is out that sports out there. And they had, like, from what I understand, they had like vendors, and you could order something, then you drive up and they give it to you, and that way. So I don't know how it worked exactly, but they've been trying some concepts over there if somebody likes to go over there and check it out. That's all I have.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the request the Brick Street merchants to well, instead of the new parking lot, I assume to put in the square closed from 1:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the Wednesdays of July 1st, August 5th, and September 2nd for a farmers market. Is that the way you folks understand the motion?
Yes, it's a southwest quad of the public square.
Southwest corner of public square. I would have one comment about that. Is there any reason why, if they needed, let's say this thing kind of really takes off and they needed extra space, why it could move to the
Northwest
corner also?
As a second on that, I would say it's okay to amend it if Mr. Jenkins goes ahead and agrees to amending it.
That's fine with me.
So the vote is going to be to have it open on those days on the north west corner and the southwest corner of the square. Is that the way you want to have it said?
Right, but the merchants will set up which corner they're going to start on and where they're going to expand from there.
Okay. So I guess what that does, if they want to start small and then it catches on, you'd have the possibility of expanding across the street.
Correct.
That everyone's understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more discussion? Then we shall have roll call, please.
Matt?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Whitty,
Yes.
Zerlini,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Gale,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other new business? If not, let's lead ourselves into the executive session. And I will, you make the announcement, Rick, and I will then have us go into recess.
I assume there's going to be no other business after this except to adjourn the meeting for those who don't have to stick around.
Yes, I think all we have to do is declare, Rick, who you want in this meeting.
I would say that's correct, George, because I just barely sent John Long some other references to be included in that ordinance, so it's not going to
Okay.
be finalized.
So we're not going to make any decisions after this. So those who are, just
So
because
even if
I'm
we
running,
decide on a dollar amount for the rate, we still have to finalize that with John.
and vote on it, we can vote on that at the next meeting. So basically, for those who don't have to stick around,
The other thing
I'm
is,
telling you on Zoom that you don't have to if you don't want to.
George, the other thing we have to consider too is that ordinance must be in all council members' hands to read in its entirety prior to the meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
So we can't vote on anything tonight. So I'm suggesting to those who don't want to stick around, the council is not going to come back and do anything other than adjourn.
But we would need the 8 aldermen, the mayor. Michelle, if I could ask you again to join us just to take the notes. John Long. That should be it.
Okay, so we have all 8 aldermen. We have the attorney. We have Michelle, who will act as the interim clerk, and John Long. Is that what we got?
Okay, so let me figure out where my breakout rooms went.
Well, first off, we're going to adjourn this meeting to go into the executive session under 5 ILCS 120 section 2 parentheses C parentheses 1 of the Open Meeting Act, consideration of the appointment, employment compensation, discipline, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body determines validity. With that, I want to we're going into recess as of 8:41 p.m. and we will look to reconvene in approximately 20 minutes. Unless you guys think it's going to take longer to discuss.
I don't think so.
So we'll reconvene in 20 minutes. No, we'll go into executive session starting at 8:45 and look to convene 20 minutes after going into executive session. All right. So get us down there, George.
So we need a vote before I can start assigning people.
Need a motion and a second to go to executive session.
I move.
Motion.
I second. Then if Rick moves, I second it.
Okay, let's have roll call, please.
Whitty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zerlini,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Gale,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
And did I have a yes from Zerlini? I couldn't tell.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, those of you on a phone may take a few seconds longer, so I will wait till everybody leaves the group session before I put myself into the breakout. So I'm going to start doing it right now. I have Sherry, Witt, Zerlini, Johnson, Long, Mack, Michelle, Gail, Jenkins, and Wilkin going there now.
George, can you still hear me?
Yes, Luann.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't kick myself off.
You're still there. In fact, it's still recording. I'm going to pause the recording again.
The mayor is still muted, huh?
Yeah, the mayor's still muted.
Am I?
No, you're okay.
Because I lost everything.
I'm clicking ask to unmute just to make sure I don't have anybody muted inadvertently.
A business card up in the corner.
Let's hereby reconvene the meeting. I think we need roll call again, Luann.
Yes, sir. Farrell,
Here.
Gail.
Here.
Did I hear a here?
Here.
Yeah, he said it.
Jenkins,
He didn't come back.
Johnson,
Here.
Mack,
Here.
Whitty,
Here.
Wright,
Here,
Zerlini.
she didn't come back.
Okay, 9:11 p.m. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
George or Rick, have you
Right.
picked, Luann?
Okay, Luann, I guess we have to do roll call since we can't get their smiling faces to count.
So what?
Do roll call for adjournment.
Oh, okay. Gail,
Yes.
Jenkins,
He left.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Whitty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes,
Zerlini.
she left.
Okay.
Okay, and to all of
Arrow,
you,
yes.
What time is it?
pardon?
9:12.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, all.
All right.
I
I'll